Okay, ji, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Let me start today's session. As you all know, today's session is about lab management. So we are going to talk about good laboratory practices based on the requirements of lab management system standard, that is ISO 17025. As far as the sequence of my talk is concerned, I will just give my brief introduction and my company's introduction, and we will talk about the basics and concepts. What is lab accreditation? What is the process? What are the main pillars of lab accreditation based on this standard ISO 17025? And if you have to implement and if you have to develop your lab management system based on ISO 17025, what is the execution strategy? And in the end, I will just show you the overview, the structure of ISO 17025. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in order to manage our training and in order to manage the time, I would request everyone to please mention your questions in the chat box, and I can assure you that all your questions will be answered. However, at the end of the session, we may have some time, and in that we can entertain all your questions. Moreover, you can also get back to us. You have our contact. Any query which is unanswered, we will be available to answer that. Just a quick introduction about myself and this company. I am Hasib Tahir Baig. I am heading this organization, Quality Management System 9000. I am basically an aeronautical engineer. I served in the Air Force and started this company in 1998. So it's been over 25 years. We are basically into management consulting and trainings. So far, we have provided consulting to over 1,000 corporate clients, companies. And as far as trainings are concerned, we have provided basic and advanced level trainings to over 12,000 professionals over a period of time. We have a dedicated team of professionals available with us who are providing consulting on various projects, who are conducting trainings also. And we have our network across Pakistan and GCC. As you can see on the right-hand side, we have also provided consulting to various international and global organizations such as World Bank, sponsored projects, ILO, International Labour Organization, German Council, the European Commission, UN Food Program, UNIDO, Asian Development Bank, and the list goes on. This is basically our core competence or the areas of specialty. We have 4 divisions. One is compliances and certification, in which we provide consulting on generic standards like ISO 9000, 14,000, 45,000. And then we have the other division, that is information systems, which we are providing consulting on ISO 27001, business continuity, vulnerability assessments, risk assessments, and so on. The third one, our core competence, is lab accreditation, in which we are providing consulting to various testing laboratories, industrial laboratories based on ISO 17025, and to medical labs also. And if you really want to see our profile, I will encourage everyone to please visit our website and see our client list. You will find some big and prestigious names in our list. Similarly, we are also providing consulting on lean manufacturing, 5S, productivity enhancement. This is our reach. We have network and offices across Pakistan and in some GCC countries. The distribution of our work of 1,000 clients is 51% in Punjab, and you can either see it on this view file. Getting on to our topic, since we have limited time, so I will just like to straight away go on to this training as far as today's awareness session is concerned. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the primary objective of today's session is to clear concepts about laboratory accreditation. Because we keep getting inquiries, we keep getting queries from various industries about lab management system, about this standard. So in today's session, I will try my best to clear the concepts, right? And also provide basic understanding on this standard, ISO 17025, and also clarify your queries regarding lab management system practices and about this standard. If you have any queries, I'll be available to answer those. As far as concepts and basics are concerned, for any system, it is important that you understand and you have the basic concepts rather than mugging on to the clauses, right? We do not appreciate that people remember these clauses of standards by heart. Basically, you need to have a clear understanding in the concept what the subject is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you see this view foil, you will find some generic standards like ISO 9000 that deals with the quality management, ISO 14000 deals with environmental management, ISO 45000 deals with occupational health and safety, and CTPAT, Customer Trade Partnership Against Terrorism, is the international standards for physical security. Similarly, for social compliances, the international standard is ISO 26001 or FTA, Free Trade Agreement, or CEDEX. All these are generic in nature. Any organization, maybe it's an IT company or a chemical processing or a food processing or light engineering manufacturing, they can apply these standards to their organizations. Looking at the requirements of these standards, they can customize as per their own work practices. Because these standards do not give the technical requirements, they give the management, how to manage an organization as far as your quality is concerned, environment is concerned, safety is concerned, security is concerned, social is concerned. So all these standards give you requirements. They don't tell you very specifically that you do this, but they just tell you this is the requirement. How you do it, you have to apply your own understanding based on the requirements of this standard. Similarly, if you look at the next slide, these are the sector specific. For testing and calibration, the standard is Lab Management System ISO 17025. So it can only be applied on a laboratory. It cannot be applied on an IT company or anything other than testing and calibration. Similarly, for medical labs, the standard is ISO 15189, textile, Ocotex, textile products ke liye, then C marking for product certification, and for inspections, the standard is ISO 17020. So these are specific in nature and they define management and technical requirements. In the coming view foils, I will tell you the generic standards. You have certification bodies. Once you prepare your system, you invite them and they do the audit and give you the certificate. Whereas in these standards, which you are seeing here, you need to go a little higher because no certification body can give you certification. For this, you have accreditation and you have accreditation bodies to verify that you are performing activities and meeting the requirements of these international standards. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at this viewfoil difference, certification किसके लिए है? जो generic standards हैं, ISO 9000, 14000, 45000, 27001. Whereas accreditation is for specific standards like ISO 17025, 15189, right? So accreditation is granted by AB. AB means accreditation body, which is recognized by ILAC, International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation. It is a higher body, and it is higher in recognition. It is internationally recognized, and this accreditation is based on management and technical requirements. And accreditation body have the ownership. They claim that the certification, the accreditation given to this company, that they are complying with these international standards. Whereas in case of certification, the certification body says, when we conducted the audit, they were doing. Later on, we are not responsible for anything, right? So certificate is granted by certification bodies, which is lower than the accreditation. It is also internationally recognized. But the main difference between these two is certification standards deal with management requirements only, whereas the accreditation standards deal with management and technical requirements both. What is lab accreditation? Well, it is a process by which an authoritative body gives recognition. Now, what is that authoritative body? No private, no certification body can give you the accreditation. Only it has to be a government body. We will talk in the next slide. So the accreditation body gives surety that the lab is fully competent to perform testing or calibration as per the scope. And the tests are, now it's a very big thing, it's a very big claim, and the tests are accurate and precise. If your laboratory is accredited, any international body, any country is bound to accept the results of an accredited lab, because they have signed a mutual recognition agreement, right? So, and the results are internationally, regionally, and nationally accepted. So if you look at this basic concept of lab accreditation, it is obviously a very prestigious and big thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, unlike generic standards, ISO 9000, 14000, 17025 is governed and assessed by an accredited body. So accreditation body जो है, वो usually one in a country. अमेरिका में 2 हैं, 3 हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में 2 हैं, यूके में 2 हैं, पाकिस्तान में there is one accreditation body, and that is Pakistan National Accreditation Council, right? What is this PNAC? It comes under Ministry of Science and Technology, and it is headed by a Director General. It has 3 main functions. 1, to accredit the laboratories. It includes medical and industrial labs. 2, to accredit inspection bodies based on 17020. And the third, accreditation of certification bodies. You must have heard various certification bodies, SGS, Bureau Veritas, RICI, TOV, etc., etc. So PNAC gives recognition to these accreditation body if they meet their criteria. What is ILAC? International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation. As of today, there are over 90 accreditation bodies who have signed ILA agreement. You can visit their website, ilac.org, to know more about it. So the basic purpose is to promote the acceptance of accredited tests around the world. So for that, this ILA, International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation, has signed a mutual recognition agreement, MRA, with all these countries, these 90 countries, 90 accreditation bodies. And in Pakistan, MRA was signed back in 2009. That gives them the authority that permits them to do audits and accredit the labs based on the requirements of ISO 17025. And for medical, ISO 15189. Okay, so what is the process? So what we have understood, what is lab accreditation, who gives the recognition, what is the difference between accreditation and certification. By the way, just to put you at ease, we will put all these slides on our website, and you can view these, access these trainings on that. We have a platform in which all our trainings are placed, so you can just see. So you need not to worry about that. So accreditation process is first of all, review and gap analysis, RGA, review and gap analysis, baseline assessment. Whenever any lab wants to go for the accreditation, the first step is that they conduct baseline assessment. Now, what is baseline assessment? Baseline assessment means that you compare your systems with the requirements of ISO 17025. That these are the requirements. How do you fulfill? So if you fulfill that requirement, you give C, compliant. If you do not, partial compliance and non-compliance, and then you do the rating. It is in measurable terms. And based on your gap analysis, you develop your system, your policies, your procedures, your SOPs, your work instructions, and so on. Similarly, once you develop your system, you implement this system and conduct training and involve your people. Once you are ready, then you invite Pakistan National Accreditation Council, and they carry out your pre-assessment audit. It is done in two stages, pre-assessment and then full assessment. So this is the overall process of accreditation. If any lab wants to go for the accreditation based on ISO 17025, you need to follow this system, this process. As far as 17025 is concerned, it is an international standard based on best practices for laboratories. It can be a testing laboratory or it can be a calibration laboratory. And this standard covers both management and technical requirements. The latest version of this standard, which is applicable, which can be utilized, is ISO 17025 2017 version, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, in short, whatever we have covered so far, you need accuracy and precision. What is accuracy? Just keep your mics on mute and just think, what is accuracy and what is precision? So accuracy is closeness to the true value. If I give you a sample, certified reference material of known value, and I give small quantities to 4 different people, so I know the actual value of this is 4, and Mr. A gives me the result 5, the other person gives me 8, right? So whichever is the closest to the true value is accuracy is calculated accordingly. And precision is if you take 2-3 readings and the variation, the range, the deviation between these 2, 3, 4 readings. One reading is 4, other is 5, other is 7. So 7 minus 4, so 3. That is the range, right? So we will cover this in detail whenever you find an opportunity to attend our advanced trainings. So basically, as I said, you are going for this standard to ensure that your results are accurate and precise, and you have a better management system. So how to improve accuracy and precision? That is to eliminate and reduce errors, right? So what is the system? So this standard tells us the requirements, that how you ensure. So that we are going to talk today. How we improve our management system, lab management system. How we ensure that our results are reliable, accurate, and precise, right? So for this, these are the slide that I'm going to show you is the complete gist of ISO 17025. Good laboratory practice. In good laboratory practices, there are 6 main pillars which you need to look into. What are those 6 pillars? So basic, if you want to go for accreditation, the foundation is ISO 17025. You can only achieve excellence and accreditation if you look into the requirements of this standard 17025 and then develop your system accordingly, right? So what are these 6 pillars? Number 1, personnel. You see, whenever you are doing testing, the competence of lab staff is very important. You may be having state-of-the-art work environment, you may be having state-of-the-art equipment, but if the person performing the test is not competent, he or she is making mistakes, is not properly trained, you will never get accurate or precise results. So, right? So that is number 1 requirement of ISO 17025, good laboratory practices. Second, infrastructure and work environment. The standard call it facility and environmental condition. We will be talking about this. Third, equipment management. That equipment is calibrated, maintained. You have state-of-the-art work environment. You have highly qualified and experienced people. But if your equipment is not reading right, you will never get the right results, right? And the fourth one, test methods. You may have all these 3 things, very competent people, state-of-the-art infrastructure, highly reliable equipment. But if you are not following the right methods, if you are not following STM, standard test methods, then obviously, if you are following the wrong method, you will never get the right results. So when we come to method, we'll tell you what is standard test method, किसको कहते हैं, lab developed or internationally published क्या है. And the 5th one, so first thing is person, infrastructure and work environment, equipment, test methods, and then is material. The chemicals that you are using in your testing. If you do not have the chemicals of right purity, you will always have deviations in your results, right? And the 6th is system. System ensuring validity of your results. What is that system? That ensures that your test results are accurate, precise, right? So it can be done through various means. ILC, interlab comparison, PT, proficiency testing, MU, measurement of uncertainty, finding out the sources of error, replicate testing and retesting. So these are various means by which an organization can assure that your results are accurate and precise. You see, if I ask you, any person who is performing tests, what is the accuracy of your results? I'm sure many of you will not be able to answer. So this standard tells you how you calculate the errors, how you calculate the accuracy, right? So that you can claim it. This standard, pura standard is there anybody who doesn't understand Urdu, क्योंकि हमारे कुछ international participants भी होते हैं generally training पे. Okay, if there is any, please raise your hand. Okay. So these are the 6 pillars for lab accreditation. Complete ISO standard, it has various clauses, it has various requirements. But if you sum up all, so these are the 6 mandatory pillars on which your entire system is dependent if you want to have good laboratory practices. What is that? Let's repeat again. Personnel, infrastructure and work environment, equipment management, test methods, chemicals or materials, system ensuring validity of results. What is that? That you have a system that you conduct inter-lab comparison. You have a system in which you participate in international proficiency testing programs. You have a system to calculate measurement of uncertainty, and you do replicate and retesting, right? So these are the things that are mandatory for any lab to get their accreditation. If we talk in detail, if we talk about personnel, now all these view files that you are seeing, now we are talking about the requirements of ISO 17025. What ISO 17025 says about personnel? It says, number one, you must have defined and documented system, procedure, so that you can generate records accordingly. System for training, selection of personnel, how you select, how you monitor the competence of people. What is the system to authorize people to perform testing? How do you ensure that the supervision of your lab staff is being done in a professional manner? So this needs to be defined, documented in form of a lab system procedure. That is the requirement of this standard on personnel. Then the second, facility and environmental condition. Does this standard require that you must have a documented procedure for that? How you monitor? What is the system of monitoring temperature and humidity? How do you ensure that the lab is free from dust and light is appropriate as defined? How you ensure that the lab has proper access control, that everybody is not authorized to enter into the lab? Then is space requirement, then is housekeeping. Housekeeping means, what do we mean by housekeeping? नहीं, खाली सफाई नहीं. Most of people think that साफ सुथरा करने को housekeeping कहती है. No. Housekeeping means right thing at the right place in an organized manner. If you go to a food testing lab and you find out on a table a bag of cement lying and very neat and clean packing, and it's written cement bag, is this required here? No. Similarly, if you open up a cupboard and you find out there are eatables lying in the lab, although they are placed in a very organized manner, but you have to ask yourself, you have to conduct your housekeeping audits. Either it is required here, is this the right place for this? So that is one of the requirements. Then is floor marking, visual marking, identification. All this is covered under this clause, facility and work environment. So this is just a pictorial view of some of the labs. On the right hand side, it is just one of our labs of Karachi Electric, their meter testing lab. On the left hand side, there is another lab that shows how proper housekeeping and marking, labeling requirement. So all the equipment, all the chemicals, all the items placed in the lab must be properly labeled, and you must have a proper defined labeling system. By just reading the code, you can understand what is this, where is it placed, what is it for. So you have to devise a coding system and label it accordingly. Similarly, your filing they must be properly labeled or marked. Then different color codings, racking, access control, right? So similarly, the third pillar is equipment management, that you have a system to manage your equipment. It must be defined and documented. How do you maintain equipment logs whenever there is any problem in the equipment? How do you do the rectification? So you must have proper troubleshooting guide based on your past experience. So for that, standard requires that equipment management and record for maintaining the logbooks or the log sheet, identify the equipment by putting identification tags. You must have details of manufacturer, evidence of conformity, its location, details of maintenance, calibration. So all this is covered under this clause, equipment management. Similarly, calibration is also a part of equipment management. You have two types of calibration, external and internal. External, you must prefer accredited labs. And if you want to do internal calibration, you need to ensure that your people are properly trained and you have a defined system for that. For that, you need to develop calibration methods. The fourth one is test methods. Now here, ladies and gentlemen, I will just like to mention the standard use two terminologies, standard test methods and non-standard test methods. Now, what are these standard test methods? These standard methods, okay, we are going to finish this link in another 4 minutes. So I would request everyone to please log on to link 2, which has already been provided to you, right? Okay. Standard test methods are those methods that are internationally published and they have regional or national or published by regional or national reputed bodies or reputed journal with high impact index or by the manufacturer. For example, ASTM, DIN, ISO, AATCC. These are different standards for different industry. USP, BP. And non-standard methods are those which are developed by lab and unverified and adopted. So for that, you need to do a lot of homework to validate these test methods. Number 5 is chemical management. Ensure use of right chemicals, right purity, with certificate of analysis, with material safety data sheets. And you must maintain the chemical inventory as well, records of the inventory, right? Proper storage, life and expiry of these chemicals. So it has been observed at many places that you have the chemicals which are being used for testing, but you don't know their expiry. So at some chemicals, the expiry is written, and in some cases, it's not written. So if it is not written, there is a way all these big names, Merck and other, they publish on their website. You just write the lot number, you can have the material safety data sheet and certificate of analysis, and then you can also see the shelf life, right? So that needs to be looked into. So we are just going to close this session.